So here's news. Sellers of homes are afraid of getting ripped off. I didn't know because there's no negative connotation with real estate agents here in Florida or anywhere else around the country. So my name is Kristen Beverly with Cross Keys Realty and Southwest Florida School of Real Estate. And last week I put a question out to some of my friends through Facebook Messenger. And I said, if you were going to buy a house or sell a house, what are your biggest fears? Or what have been your greatest experiences? And unfortunately, I really didn't get too many great experiences, but I was really surprised to find out that quite a few people responded and they said they are afraid of the rip-off agent. Or basically an agent who's going to come in and tell them their house is worth less than what the actual market value is so that they can make a quick commission. So I just wanted to address that here because I know whether we're buying a house or a car or anything else, we have so much information at our fingertips. But when it comes down to actually selling or purchasing, we're not experts in every single thing. Even with information, it does not make us an expert. And we really need somebody to reassure us and walk us through these things, and so that we're confident and comfortable in knowing that we're making the best decision, earning the most money we can for what we're selling, or not getting ripped off when we're buying, right? So I'm going to tell you, if you're going to sell your house, this is what you should expect from an agent who comes in. Of course, they should be cordial and kind to you, and they should kind of tour around your house and take a look at any of the upgrades that you've completed, or if there's any improvements that need to be made, like the air conditioning system or the roof is really old. Just kind of taking really good notes on what your home, what your product has to offer. You should all sit down at the kitchen table, and you should really dig into what we call a comparative market analysis, or we call it a CMA. Comparative market analysis is just real estate jargon. What we're doing is we're looking at homes that are active, that are sold, or that have expired. And the way we choose what homes we're going to use to compare to yours is through the principle of substitution. So I'm going to read my definition here because I think it's better than me trying to explain it verbatim. So the principle of substitution sets a limit of value for a property by establishing the cost of acquiring an equally desirable substitute property on the open market. I'm going to do that one more time. Principle of substitution sets a limit of value for a property by establishing the cost of acquiring an equally desirable property on the open market. So basically what that says is nobody is going to pay more for your house when they can go buy a house down the street that's extremely similar for a less amount of money. It's black and white. I tell people all the time at listing appointments, this is math. It's nothing but math. There's no secret sauce to figure out what the value of the home is. We look at the actives because that tells us what your competition is. We look at the sold homes because that tells us what people are willing to pay for homes that are very similar to yours. And then we look at the expired homes because that tells us what the prices the market is not willing to bear. So there were no buyers for those homes because the price is too high. So when we look at the data and then we look at photos of those homes, it becomes very evident what the value of any given home is, right? On very rare occasion, especially in luxury real estate, we can't use the principle of substitution. So if we can't do that, then we just go to an appraisal report, and that's kind of its own animal. But for the most part, probably 90% of the time, 88 to 90% of the time, we're going to use a comparative market analysis and the principle of substitution. So if you're looking to sell your home and you have an agent or several agents come into your home to tell you what the value of your home is, they should be bringing this report with them in some format or another. But they should be providing you with really the cold hard facts of what the home value is. Now, if you have 2 or 3 or 4 agents come in, really they should be using the same homes, right? Because we all have access to the same information. Nobody has access to anything that another agent doesn't have access to. The only other thing that I will mention too is I have had people in the past call and say, oh, don't worry about it. I know the value of my home. I've done my own market analysis. And I'll say, well, that's really interesting. Where did you get the information for that? And they'll say, well, I've been watching Zillow or I've been watching Realtor.com and I know what everything has sold for. But then I have to sit down and say, okay, let's take a look at those homes and let me show you what I have. And what I have information on and you don't is that oftentimes there's seller concessions or the seller will give money back to the buyer at closing. So say, Zillow is reporting a home sold for $240,000, but what it's not reporting is the seller gave $8,000 back to the buyer. So the value of that home is not 240,000, it's 232,000. And that makes a big difference. And this is why you want a licensed professional to come in, somebody who has access to the MLS, because again, access to all of that information does not necessarily make you an expert. So if you have any other questions on market analysis, if you'd like to know the value of your home, feel free to reach out to us. All of our contact information is listed above or below, depending on what site you're on. This is Kristen, again, with Cross Keys Realty and Southwest Florida School of Real Estate. Hope you all have a wonderful day.